Welcome back, guys. FM News Talk 97.1 DGS 437 on a Monday. And we have Senator Scott Rupp with us live in studio. And when Tom's always forever saying things that just infuriate us. And he walks in and he said, hey, Rupp's here with his lovely wife and Dairy Queen. And we're like, oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And Max goes, he really has Dairy Queen? He goes, no.
He lied to
But
us.
why would you do that to us? Now it's just going to be a huge disappointment.
I could taste the peanut butter parfait.
At least tell us his wife's here. Nope, not her either. So it's just Rupp.
Yeah, wow.
This should be great.
What a letdown.
She's listening at home, though.
Close enough.
Because
That's it.
she already texted me and commented that every time I'm on this show, you guys are talking about something very crass.
Yes.
One day it was teabagging, one day it was crapping in your pants, and now it was gay horses. So you guys always set the bar.
Welcome to
You
the
know,
studio.
I mean, do you know how hard I have to go out and work for all the votes I lose after being on this show?
Oh, no kidding. No
Man.
kidding. So we'll start with the campaign. How is the campaign going?
The campaign's going great. We're running for Secretary of State. We announced, August 1st of last year, and then 10 days later, Robin Carnahan said she's not running again. So that we've just been traveling the state and telling the story, and it's going great. The message is strong, and people are responding great. You can go to rootfrommissouri.com. My gorgeous wife is actually redesigning the website. She couldn't be here today, so in about a new week, we'll have a new one up and go. But you can go to the existing rootfrommissouri.com and tell us how horrible and crabby the website is and how much it needs to change, and then we'll unveil the new one, and we'll all go, yay.
So when people aren't into you, when they say, I don't know if you're my guy, typically what is it? Where are you not connecting with them?
We have a great message and we connect. You just people don't know who we are.
Yeah.
I'm a state senator and I cover 250,000 people. But when you travel to Waynesville and St. Robert and they just haven't keyed in. Everyone looks at national politics, but we're a down ticket ballot because you have U.S. Senate, President, Congress, Governor, Lieutenant Governor, Secretary of State, Treasurer. Everyone's up. They just don't know who we are.
Well, and what is the message? Running for Secretary of State is not like running for governor or lieutenant governor or your Senate seat again. What is the message to become the next Secretary of State?
Well, first off, people always ask, what does the Secretary of State do?
Yeah, true.
My wife always jokes. She said, are you going to wear a skirt and bring the governor coffee? I was like, no.
It's kind of hot.
It's a little bit more beyond that. But, it governs all the elections. So, fair ballot language every time there's an issue to petition, just the sanctity of your vote being counted. They had the polls open until 9 p.m. one time here in the city of St. Louis, voter fraud. That's the first thing that we do. It also governs all the business registration. So if you want to open a business or a side business or a new one, you got to go to the Secretary's office first. I used to own 3 small businesses. And then also it's any securities law. So, I just drove past Wells Fargo, Edward Jones. We're the second largest state in the country for headquarters of financial firms. So we need to, actually grow that industry and add more jobs here to Missouri and the St. Louis region. And we can do that through the Secretary's office. And so those are the main 3 things. And we just talk about pro jobs, pro everything we've done. I mean, I was a senator that put Prop C on the ballot. Had the first referendum on Obamacare. We have a conservative track record of getting results for the people. And when they hear that, they see what we've done, they see what we're going to do, then they respond very well.
Now, is everybody up this year? Is this, I know it's general election, but are there people who are not running this year?
The only statewide office that's not up is state auditor.
Oh, wow.
So, so pretty much everybody
man.
And so when we go to the Lincoln Day circuit, that's like the Republican gathering in every county.
Yeah.
It's the rubber chicken circuit. I mean, it's about your 20th. They're the 20th speaker, and everyone's eyes have glazed over. And,
So what are the big issues, whether it's Senator Rupp or Secretary of State Rupp, what are the big issues that Missouri faces in the coming year?
Well, I mean, Missouri is always going to face issues just with jobs. Because 80 cents or 60 cents out of every dollar that comes into the state comes from someone's personal withholding out of their paycheck. And then if you don't have a job, that doesn't happen. If you don't have a job, you're not spending money in the stores, and the other 20 cents comes from sales tax. So until we get more jobs back in this region, until we get more jobs back in the state, we're just going to continue just to be lagging behind other states. So that's the big thing, and that's why we're really pushing for the financial services.
There's never been a human being more bored than Scott's son.
That's Scotty. He's in studio. He's
hanging on every word from Dad.
Oh, absolutely.
He's bathing himself in Germex.
He could not be more interested in what
smell it
Dad
over
said.
here. I can smell all the Germex over here.
And interestingly enough, the guy that's running for U.S. Senate, one of the 3 of them, invented Germex.
Oh, wow.
And he's from St. Louis.
Wow.
If that poison monkey for Outbreak were in here, he'd be dead on the table.
Yep.
Just from what's on his hands. That is awesome. If you have a question for Scott, or whether in his duty as state senator or future duty as Secretary of State, 314-969-9797, 866-455-9797. So, I mean, we're going to talk about this at 5 o'clock. Just the whole huge story is race relations, and with the coming, of course, presidential campaign and election, it just feels not just race, but everything just feels real fighty. I mean, everyone is just ready to take somebody's head off. Is it like that on a state level?
We are in a hyper polarized state right now, just all over. The lines are drawn. Basically, you're going after 15% of the middle. I mean, because most people know.
I agree.
And it's very vitriolic. People are very angry. They're very upset on both sides. And so it's anywhere you go. And when you get into the general election, it's going to be pretty nasty in every race you're in. And it's just people are upset and angry.
And I guess that's every election cycle, but this one is maybe just the perfect storm of all these events coming together, and the president's first 4 years, and people who are unhappy with who the presidential candidate looks like it's going to be. Just emotions are running so incredibly high, and for even the intelligent among us, the educated among us, whether it's formal education or it's just going and educating yourself, it's difficult enough to separate things out. But for a lot of people out there who are just single issue voters or straight down the line voters,
yeah, and it's cyclical. If you go back 20 years, you'll have complete voter apathy. No one will be paying attention. And it is. If you go back over time, it cycles through and it gets to the peak and then it lets down. And then, then 30 years from now, we'll be talking about how no one's paying attention and everything.
You're right.
No one's showing up and no one's getting involved. It happens. History repeats itself. And we are right at the precipice of people that are very, very into.
And you wonder which is the more preferable to live in. Just a completely apathetic time, or a time like this where everyone is hypersensitive and into it. Bob calling in with the question for Senator Scott Rupp. Hey, Bob.
Hi, how are you?
Good, thanks.
I just wanted to ask the senator, with all of the news about voter fraud around the country, and if I remember, there's been some of that in Missouri before. What are his ideas, and how is he going to try to protect us from having that voter fraud happen again?
That's a great question. And voter fraud happens every day, and then it happens every election. The first thing we need to do is have a voter photo ID. You can't go to Blockbuster and rent a movie without showing your ID. You should be able, when you go in and vote, you should be able to show an ID. So that's something that we passed and was going to be on the ballot. Maybe a judge kicked it off the ballot, but I think we're going to appeal. So that should be on the ballot this year for the voters to approve. Can we do that? One of the things they're doing in Minnesota is that if you don't have a photo ID, they'll take your picture at a polling place for you and then load it right in, and then they just have tied their database up with the DMV, and they have 12 years of pictures. So if you're 92 and you had a driver's license 12 years ago, they can pull it up.
That's a great idea.
So they're tying it together. That way. You got to clean up the voter rolls. I mean, there are some cities and towns where there's more people on the voter rolls than the census set even lives there. And it's just technology and upgrading and getting the people that shouldn't be off there, the people that change their names. So technology, transparency, and photo identification, I think, are three huge things that'll make a big dent into voter fraud.
Gary, with a question about the whole debacle at the caucus a few weeks ago. Hi, Gary.
Hi, how you doing?
Good, thanks.
Yeah, I was just never really gotten a clear reading on who was responsible for that mess of the election not counting, and then the whole caucus thing, which is kind of a joke as far as I'm concerned, as far as caucus.
And what happened?
It was a perfect storm of just complete failures. Number one, you had 1,500, some accounts 2,000 people showing up into a gymnasium, and then you're going to try to conduct a meeting. Well, this is not going to happen. So that, number one, they probably should have broken it out like they did in St. Louis County and had smaller ones. Number two is it was not ran very well. It wasn't organized. There was the people that were running it just weren't really prepared and in control, and they tried to do some shady things that probably because they wanted to go a certain way. So you had that happen. And number three, there were people there just to cause trouble. Just to try to get the crowd up to delay it. It happened all over the state. There was caucuses that were lasting 8-9 hours because they knew if they delayed everything, people get tired, they go home, and then at the end of the day, they'd have the votes for their person.
Yeah.
So it was a perfect storm. They've rescheduled it. It's tomorrow night at 7 p.m. at St. Charles Convention Center, St. Charles Convention Center there at the Embassy Suites there. So come back out. It's going to have a redo, a mulligan, or whatever you want to call it. But it's going to be it's open to the public. So come back out tomorrow, 7 p.m., St. Charles County.
One last one here from Rick. Hey, Rick, go ahead.
Hi, guys. Thanks. What is the actual function of the Secretary of State, yourself or anybody else? I hope it's you in the future.
Oh, thank you.
For actually bringing jobs into the state, new jobs, new business function. I'll hop off the line.
Yeah, it's a great question, and it's never really been used to its full potential. And I just point to just to one section, just the securities laws that governs all the investments. Look at what happened at MF Global and things of that nature up in John Corzine and how all those people lost their money. Those are the types of things that the Secretary can govern, those types of laws. Now, we have Wells Fargo, Edward Jones, Scott Trade, Stiefel Nicholas, 20th Century Fund, Scout Funds. We're the second largest state in the country for headquarters of financial firms. You can't tell me that out of the thousands and thousands of mutual fund companies out there that you couldn't say, hey, wouldn't you want to be right next door to the largest sales force in the nation? Use our strengths. I bet if we went out and had a secretary that was actually welcoming to that type of business rather than trying to beat them back and police agency on them, you could actually get them more mutual fund companies, their back-end third-party administrators to come to Missouri. These are great paying, family-supporting, white-collar jobs. You can just grow this whole industry. Just look down the street. I mean, how much jobs this would be huge for our area. The state of Kentucky did this. They went after Fidelity funds, and they wanted just Fidelity to bring their back office. Took a town of 430 or 480 people and now has an 8-building campus with 6,000 employees just because they got one company to move their third-party back office paperwork stuff. And they had nothing to offer that Missouri does. So that's one area, just one area that we could actually go out. I used to own my own financial firm. I sold it back in 2006. I know the business. I know how it works. We could actively, aggressively recruit these companies to come here, and I know we would add jobs to this state.
The website one more time?
Rupp4Missouri.com, all spelled out. Plus, we're on Twitter and on Facebook. So, again, Scott Rupp, Rupp4Missouri.com.
Cool, Matt. We talked about doing a Twitter deal, and since I don't really have any interest in being a Twitter guy, but I was, and Scott was offering me that if I got more than him, I could be like a senator for the day. But I was thinking maybe what we do is we say if we can get him X thousands of followers, then I get to go in and be senator for the day.
I like it.
And wear like sandals and make new laws.
Cool.
Wouldn't that be cool? All right, we'll
Scott
work something out.
Rupp at Twitter.
So Scott_Rupp,
PP.
PP at Twitter. All right.
Yeah.
How many we got to get for me to be a senator?
I'm at I'm about 1,700 now. If we hit, if you can hit 3,000 in 2 weeks,
Beautiful.
be senator for a day.
Done and done. Okay, there you go.